Hello, it's Ian here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're going to be doing our monthly ramble videos. So, I guess we'll talk about a pet peeve I have about anime and manga. It's not really a serious one. I broadly don't care, but it bothers me because it causes a lot of issues in the Western anime manga community, and that would be age, like the made-up ages for the characters, right? Mostly that's just because people make fan art and then people get upset, and it's just annoying to have to go over this again and again and again and again. And fan service is a big thing in anime, and so the character ages also affect this, right? Now, broadly, I don't really care. I'm very much in the it's a drawing, it doesn't really matter kind of category. I also really don't like lolly type characters. They make me uncomfortable. But again, it's not real, so I don't really care, but I wouldn't engage with content like that, right? And when it comes to ages, when I read a manga like Tokyo Revengers, it's really annoying that these guys are doing like awesome gangster type things, but they're like 12 years old. It's like, how are they able to do this stuff if they're 12 years old in a country like Japan, where it's like hyper rule based, and it's really ridiculous, and it just doesn't make sense. And if you really think about it for even a second, it like breaks the whole immersion of that show, right? For certain things it works, like high school romances. Obviously they have to be in high school, so they have to be a certain age, but then you probably shouldn't make it as raunchy as most romance slice of life type series end up being. But again, it's because, you know, Japan has very different views on that type of stuff. And so when it's brought over, people get upset, people get annoyed, even though it's really honestly hypocritical most of the time, because like shows like Euphoria or Glee exist, and they're supposed to be high school people, and they end up in situations very similar or even sometimes worse than, you know, ecchi fan service elements that happen in manga. And people don't really bat an eye at them. But then when it's a drawing, it's like a completely problematic thing, right? Which is like worse because which makes less sense because they're not even real, right? Whereas like people in Euphoria or Glee are actually 25, 30-year-old people portraying high schoolers, but you know, it is still technically a high school student that you're watching doing this stuff, right? But I honestly, like, I didn't have a better topic, so that's why I'm talking about this one, even though honestly, broadly, I don't care. But I just needed to make a video in this ramble series because it makes me unhappy to like not do these, in the sense of like I had this streak going and now I'm gonna break it because I couldn't come up with a topic. So I'll just pick a random topic that I don't really care too much about, but that can have like an interesting conversation, right? So yeah, ages for characters, I really don't find them good because most of the time they pick an age that doesn't really make sense for the character. Like in Pokemon, this kid is going on an adventure into the forest, into the city, into wherever by himself, and he's 10 years old. That makes no sense. Like if he was an 18-year-old, that would make more sense. A 15 or 16-year-old, that would kind of make sense, right? You know, it has happened before that 10-year-old kids have to leave and go somewhere else. I am not saying that doesn't happen, but like not nowadays, or a lot less often nowadays than back, you know, earlier in time, right? So I don't know, broadly speaking, I just think that sometimes all of the issues of, you know, story inconsistencies or story like stories not making sense or people getting angry about things like that could just be easily solved if you just made all manga and anime characters either not have a defined age at all or have one that is clearly like 17 or 18 and up. And it would broadly not really affect anything because most stories that are made for shonen characters can easily happen if the character is 18 as equally as if they're 12, right? And honestly, if they were 18, it would make a lot more sense. Like Naruto is 12 for the vast majority of the story, or at least for up to Shippuden. But he's like going crazy, like murdering people, or like almost getting murdered. And it's like, why would a country that needs soldiers at certain levels of knowledge and like ability put all of their soldiers and all of their future soldiers in danger by sending them out on missions when they're 12 years old? It doesn't really make sense, right? Or like My Hero Academia characters, they're all like, they all look like adults very clearly, but they're all like 14 years old. And it's just like, bro, why? Like, just make My Hero Academia a university instead of a high school, or make it a high school, but it starts later. And then there you go. You solve the issue, and people can stop crying about fan service in, anime and manga, and it would be much, much better off for everyone. It would stop people from getting angry. It would stop people from getting angry at the people that got angry. And it would kind of make the anime community, at least the one in English, a lot easier to interact with, because it's really annoying to log on Twitter and every 3 days or every once a month or every couple months, someone has to bring up, oh, fan service is bad. And then it all derails into this completely unnecessary, ridiculous fight between a bunch of people. And it's just really annoying, right? So, yeah, it's not really a pet peeve itself. It's the results of it that really bother me and make me annoyed. And so I would really like it if that changed. But of course, it's not going to, because it won't. And that's just how it goes, right? But if it was me, I would honestly be like, yeah, everything that's shonen is for teenagers, for 12 to 18 years old, but all of the characters are going to be 18, so that we can have everything a lot easier, on everyone, right? Now, some people would argue, but 12-year-olds are not going to be able to relate to 14-year-olds or 18-year-olds. It's like, well, it's not true, because Luffy is 17 or 18 when he starts his story, and everyone can pretty easily relate to a character like that. Naruto is 12. He's also a ninja. He has magic, and people can still relate to that. People can relate to anything as long as there is something about them that is relatable, right? So changing the age of a character really shouldn't be a problem. And honestly, they should all just be 18 or 17 and up, depending on, what you think the legal age is. I think in some countries it's 16. Here in Texas it's 17. 18 is, broadly understood to be an adult. So, whatever works. But honestly, I think it would just make everything much easier if all the characters were just adult age from the beginning, even if they're like, they might not act like it, because, Luffy acts like a 5-year-old, but he's 20 years old at the, post time skip. So, it is what it is. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about this. Like I said, I don't really have strong opinions. I just get annoyed at the way the anime and manga community just bring this topic up ad nauseum and never can get over it. And so I feel like if the anime creators and manga creators just change the age of their characters a little bit, it would make everything so much easier for everyone, right? Or I guess people not from Japan could just suck it up and just be like, okay, that's however they view their culture, and that's how they do it, so we're just gonna enjoy it and not criticize it because it's not necessarily made for us. Although maybe that's not a good way of looking at it, I don't know. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think about ages and age ranges in anime and manga, and how people react to things based on those ages associated with pen and ink and paper, right? So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys later.